All right, good morning, you guys. Hey, hello, happy Friday. Okay, we're all set and are ready to go through our lower body strength and sweat workout today. So we're going to be focusing on our legs as well as on our cardio with a nice sweaty circuit at the end of our leg sesh. So in terms of equipment today, I have this chair, my 8-pound set of dumbbells, and my loop bands that are kind of hiding in the back here. So I have a strong one and a lighter set one. So you can grab all of this stuff. If you do not have any of the above, I have options that do not require the stuff, like the chair or the dumbbells and bands, vice versa. So for the warm-up, it's the only time you're not going to need equipment. We're just going to start off with our bodies coming to the end of the mat, standing hip width apart. Another thing you guys will note is that I am wearing shoes. We are going to be doing some jumping stuff, some high impact stuff. So if you are going to join me on that, then you will most likely want that support from shoes for your ankles, your knees, your hips, all of the above. So let's get you started here with going down into this walkout position. So I'm keeping my legs straight, knees soft. I'll get all the way down to this plank, and then we'll lift the hips up, walk them out, 1, 2, 3, 4, lower the hips down, and then we'll walk up to the top, getting a little bit of a stretch through the back of the legs. Reach the arms over the head and do it again 4 more times to make it 5 total. Let's go. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Here we go. So we're trying to keep the knees soft, legs straight, get a little bit of a stretch through the back of the legs. Oh yeah. They're still feeling a little residual if you guys were joining me on the Wednesday and the Monday workouts. The leg stuff. So once we're done 5 of those, again, please take your time. I know you guys probably are not done because these ones take a little while. But once you are done, we are going to go down onto the floor into our 90-90 position. So we have been here before. 90 degrees at both of the knees. Bottom of the foot is in line with the other shin, the leg. We're going to lock both our feet in place. Try to sit as upright as possible and flip the legs over, keeping the feet exactly where they are. So some of us might need to lean back slightly to make this feel comfortable. So if you sit up, you might feel very uncomfortable, very tight in your hips. So just work it as you need to not have any pain happen. And so that you can go back and forth about 10 times, 5 on each side. Not spending too long there. We did this as a stretch as we're here on Wednesday. So today we are just moving through this to help us warm up our hips, our knees, all of the lower body stuff. So we'll go through 10. Once you guys are done 10, we are going to lay on our back all the way down and laying it down on our back. Lifting up one leg, I'm going to grab that knee with the opposite hand, take a big breath in, and then exhale and try to bring this knee all the way down to the floor, and then I'll bring it back up. Not stretching down there, we're just leaving that position when we get there. And then again, exhale as I alternate, switching sides, touch that side down, and we'll do 3 of these per side, so 6 total. So just take your time with them. Use your breath to help see if you can sink a little bit lower into that rotation, but we are not forcing anything, okay? So there should not be any pain. You shouldn't feel like we're pinchy or stabby or anything like that. Just stretching, loosening up your hips, your lower back, all of those things. So 3 per side. I know these feel so nice and you want to just keep doing them. But we are going to stand up to the top for the next one, which is going to be a side lunge. Now, today for the side lunge, what we're going to do is step out onto one side and then push ourselves all the way up, trying to find that balance on the standing leg at the top. And then we'll go back down onto the same side. I send my arms out in front of me and then again, come up and drive the knee up to the top. So I'll go through 10 of these per side. Going as low as we're comfortable with. So some of us are going to be able to sink a lot lower into that side lunge than others. No matter who you are, I want you to think about sticking your butt out behind you, which is going to help us overall have a better feeling side lunge. Our hips are going to go back rather than our knees going forward. So you shouldn't feel too much tension in your knees. And if you are, just don't go so low. So we'll do 10 of those on that side. And then we will switch and do 10 on the other side. And again, I'm sending my arms forward to help promote my hips to go back. Yep. And then driving the knee up, getting that sneaky balance work. But don't worry, there's not nearly as much as last day. All right. Good work, you guys. Oh, I am so sorry, girl. I don't know what happened there. Zoom was having a total moment. Welcome, though. Come on in. All right, I had someone waiting in the waiting room. We in, though. Okay, so come on in. Join us here. We are doing side lunges. So you can come over to one side, and we'll go through about 5 of these per side. And get moving on these. Don't worry, you didn't miss too much. We've just been loosening it up. So we'll go through 5 per side. Once you guys are done, we're coming back to the end of our mat. So take your sweet time with those ones. Sorry about that, Carly. I'm glad to have you here, though. Yay. I'm not sure what happened. I think I just didn't hit the right setting there. We're going back into a walkout. So once you're done those ones, we'll come back down to the end of the mat, going down to this plank, lifting up the hips, walking out the hips, 4 total, 2 per side, lowering, and then walking back up to the top. So we'll go through the second set of this one here, doing 5 of these total, and getting that stretch through the back of the legs, walking down to the bottom, lifting those hips up, and then walking out the back of the legs. So we should be getting like a stretch through the calves, through the hamstrings. It feels nice. We'll do 4 of those, and then we'll drop back down and walk back up. Whew, those ones are gonna warm you up. So we'll do 5 total of that whole combination. Yeah, warm after that. Okay. Should be good now. Yay. Yeah. All right. So good job, you guys. We are going to go through our first 2 exercises. Yay. So once you guys have done that, you can stand up, check it out, grab yourself your equipment. If you're using dumbbells, bands, whatever you've got, bring them out here. We're starting with a sumo RDL. So the RDLs are Romanian deadlift, or our straight leg deadlift, which we're doing in a sumo stance. So we've been working on this one for the past few weeks. We start off in that wide stance, toes slightly pointed out. I have these 2 8-pound dumbbells because you guys know this is literally all I have. If you have several weights, you can start with something a little bit lighter here, lock in your form. Use soft knees, and then we're going to push our hips back behind us while keeping the legs straight till the weights are about below our knees. And then we pull the hips forward, and that was 1. And you guys are going for 15 of them. Lots of reps to practice and feel this nice stretch as we go down, and then we squeeze ourselves up to the top. So because we're in this wider stance with the toes pointed out, we help to use more on the sides of our hips here. The other thing that does is you'll feel the back of the leg probably stretching a little bit more than if we were to have our feet in here, whereas I want them out here. So we'll go through 15 reps. If you guys are working with bands, last week I gave you the option to take a band and stick it over your head and work with this hip hinge with the banded resistance on the top. So this one will work really well if you only have loop bands. If you have longer set bands, the ones with handles, the power bands, anything like that, you can always stand on the band like this and go through your set with the anchored band underneath your feet. So this is going to be the first exercise. We have one that we are pairing this with. You guys will want your loop band. So I'm going to go grab my light yellow. So I have the yellow one, the black one. These are nice snapped. And the other one's the medium one. I got to get some more. So I'm going to use my lighter one, put it around my heels here, And then come to one side of the mat, put myself into that hip hinge, so soft knees, hips back, and we're doing these side steps where I step wider and then hip width, wider, hip width. So we'll go all the way down to the end in these, and then we'll come all the way back, and we'll do that 3 times, and then repeat back to our sumo deadlifts, our RDLs. So if you do not have a band, you are following along doing the same thing with the same hips back, tight butt, stepping, trying to keep loaded in your hips. You can also do this with your long band. You got all the options today. Around your feet, you can just step on it sideways like this, and then use the band. You pull it up a little bit higher. You can also cross it like this and go through these side steps. So 3 times there and back for the hips, the burning hips. And then we're going through our second set. We're going to complete 3 more, not taking too much rest here. If you need like a little memento to grab yourself some water, to shake out your hips, that's totally fine, but we're not having any prescribed rest, no minute long rest here. We'll try to just go into our next set, and weights are in front of us, soft knees, sticking the hips back. So we're trying to make our hips move back rather than our body move forward. We want to stick the butt out behind us, and that's going to help us keep the weights close and keep all the tension on our hamstrings and our butt and not on our lower back. Because as soon as I don't push my hips back and I kind of lean my body forward like this, the weights usually start to stray away, which makes me use my lower back a lot more. So keep them close and focus on driving the hips back behind you. So we'll go through second set, 15 hamstrings, butts, back of the legs. Where we want the work. Let's do it. So we've been gearing up for this straight leg version by doing our regular sumo with the bent knees, which is technically a stronger way to do the deadlift than with the straight legs, because we don't have as many muscles helping us with the straight legs. We don't have these ones. We're really only relying upon the back, which is why we're choosing to do this, because it's a much more backside focused version of the deadlift, whereas the sumo involves just a little bit more of the front of the legs. So when you're done with deadlifts, we go right into our second set of those side steps. So we can band up around our ankles, and again, hip width, we go wider, and then hip width. We never want to come closer, because if you guys are coming too close, we're going to lose tension on the band. So if I go like this and the band goes loose every time like this, I'm not going to be getting the same work as I would get if my band was to stay tight, because now those hips have to work the entire time, whereas this is giving them a little second of rest. So don't do it. Try not to do it. You're stuck in your band. A wet bathing suit. All right. Whew, 2 more sets. So same deal. We're going to take, some water and then get going into our third of 4 sets. So really the whole intention of this first pair of exercises is to get everything really woken up and working and awake in your backside. So again, back of your hamstrings and your butt. So let's really try to focus on that on our next set here. The more you think about it, the more that it's going to happen. On the way down, we're going back, which we've talked about a lot, but we're also stretching. So you should feel that stretch starting to happen in the back of your legs and in your butt. And when you get down to the bottom, we're not just going to stand up and squeeze at the top. I want you to start that squeeze here at the bottom. So we squeeze, and that is going to bring us up, and we're already squeezed now at the top. We don't have to finish off with that butt squeeze because it's already happening, starting at the bottom. If you guys can do that, you're going to get like so much more out of this. See if you can make that happen. We have 2 more sets to try it. Let's do it. There you go. So if you are dumbbell-less and you're working just with these loop bands, it's surprisingly hard to do this hinge or this deadlift with the overhead hold here. The wider that you hold your hands above your head, the stronger that you keep them up there, sumo, the more challenging that this is going to be, because you're involving more in your upper body to keep that band wide. So if you're not using dumbbells, you're using the band. Try to crank it up a notch here on your last set. See if you can pull the band a little bit wider. And let's do it. There you go. So when we're working through those side steps, again, I'm trying to get you guys to load up the back of your legs. So we have to start off with pushing the hips back slightly so we can get that feeling, that tight feeling in the back of the legs, and then we can start. So usually you'll end up in this sort of athletic bent over position here with the hips back, rather than just like standing upright like this. Yes, you're gonna feel some burn, but you're not going to get the same work like on your actual entire glutes. You're really only gonna focus on the sides. Whereas if you hinge and tighten up, you're going to get work throughout your butt, your hamstring, the entire backside of your lower body. Which I want for you guys. Which is why I put these two together. All right, so we have one more set. Once you're done this, the last set of these two, of course, we're going to move on to the next two. Woo! All right, so final set, you guys. We are doing it. Going through 15 reps. So for most of us, this last set, you're gonna feel this more than all of our other sets. If anyone's still finding this is kind of easy, remember that the slower you go, the more tension that you're going to build up on those muscles, the more challenging that this is going to be, especially on the way down. The way up can still be normal, 2 seconds. The slower we go on the way down, the more time this weight is on the back of your leg, so the more intense this is going to feel. So especially now, if this is your last set, try your best to slow down a little bit, specifically on the way down. Maybe focus extra hard on those last 5 reps. Yes. All right. Okay, so 15. Ooh, yes. Back to the legs. So work through these ones. Yep. Once you guys are done, you're going to have one more set of your lateral side steps. 3 times there and back, about the distance of a mat. You don't have a mat, you take about 10 steps there and back. Just do whatever you did on the first 3 sets. We will even it out and finish up here. We're moving on to our next part in about a minute. So you guys have that amount of time, which I believe is enough time to go through this final set. There you go. So load up the legs. Ooh, yes. All right, so once you finish, grab some water, take about a minute here to regroup, think about how your legs are feeling, and get yourself set up for the next part. I am going to be using this chair here, not for using to put my foot on or anything yet. I'm going to use it to hold onto. So you don't technically need a chair. If you have like a wall or something, you can use that instead. But I'm going to use this as it's a little bit lower. I find it's a bit more comfortable. So what we're going to do is get you guys going through our single leg deadlift to step back lunge. That's our combination move. We're going to do it today where we're holding on to something to help us take the balance out of the picture. I don't want us to focus on balance. I want us to focus on leg strength. So focusing on that standing leg without having to think about balance. So what I'm going to do is position myself so I have something to hold on to on this side, the side that I'm standing on. I'm going to hold both my weights because I want a nice heavy weight here. So I have a 16-pound situation in this opposite hand that I'm holding and that I'm standing on. Soft knee. This leg's just lifted off the ground. Pushing the hips back, same thing as that sumo RDL we just did. all the way forward, and then we step into a lunge, and that's 1 rep. So my hand stays on here, but I'm bending my arms so I don't rotate through my body. You guys are doing 10 per side. So the deadlift plus the lunge equals 1, and you are doing 10. So if you are someone who is stuck with light weights, you don't have anything heavy, you can try not holding on, because at this point, if I was only to work with an 8 and hold on, that's not going to really give me the same benefit as having something as heavy as 16. So I might want to work on my balance today here rather than hold on with something that's too light. Same thing goes with the bands. You guys are, if you're using bands, if it's a heavy band, you can hold on, anchor it around your foot like this, or you can challenge your balance with a lighter band if you would like. But we're doing 10 per side. And again, both of those equals 1. The deadlift plus the lunge equals 1 rep on both sides. So once we're done that first side, let's switch over and we'll do the other side here. Leads, keep it even. And there we go. Straight leg, driving the hips back and forward into the lunge, slightly leaning forward in that lunge as well to help push my hips back. So I'm not up like this with my knee driven forward, always with the hips back. It's going to help you guys not only target more of the back of the leg, but also just keep your knees safer. And if you were to sit upright like this, you want to drive the hips back. Try it out. All right. Yes. Good work, you guys. Okay, so once you are done, all of those, because I feel like it's just so many, I am now going to position, because you guys know this is like a rickety ass IKEA chair. I'm going to position it so it is pushed up against the wall for safety reasons, because I do not want it to fall or flip or anything like that. And I know it's a lot more fixed and safe when it's pushed up against the wall. If you do not have something like this, you can always use like a stair, a stool, something like that, because we're going to do a hip thrust with our feet up on here. So I'm going to lay on my back. Oh yeah. All the way down. Put my feet up onto my chair, my bench, my step, and then we're going to go into a hip thrust, trying to lower our hips all the way down to the floor, and then drive them all the way up to the ceiling, to that full hip bridge. So it's a bigger range because we have much more movement to go through than if we were just on the floor, or even if we had our upper back on there. So again, you don't have to use something as high if you don't have something, but if you use an actual chair over like a stool or something, this is going to be a lot harder because again, it's a bigger range. So we're going through 20 reps of these ones. Yes, you guys can start these whenever. Then if you're kind of sketched out with putting your feet up on your chair's kind of sketchy like mine, you can always do this off the floor, but the range is so much smaller because this is all I can move through. Whereas when I have my feet up on here, it was so much bigger, so you're going to involve more throughout the back side, especially as you're doing 20 reps. Oh yeah. All right. Okay. So once you guys are done, with this one, we have similar muscles working. We're working our glutes in that deadlift to lunge combo, and we're working our glutes on this hip thrust here. So once you're done, you can take a little bit of rest, about 30 seconds, 45 seconds. Try to keep it under a minute so that we can get through 3 more sets of this. Yes. So I know this one takes a little bit to go through, but whatever helps you get through this, whether it's just you getting up and going into your next set, and if you're taking some rest. So I'm just going to flip my chair around now so that I can use it for my supported deadlift here. So whenever you guys are ready, you can get in. We're doing it again. So we've got a quick sip of water if you need it, if you would like it, and then we'll go into our second set. And you guys can see my arm a little bit better over here. So every time I go down, I'm bending at my elbow, because if I kept my arm straight over here, I would end up rotating like this. I don't want that rotation through any part of me. I want to stay nice and straight and strong. So I'm bending the arm so that that doesn't happen. Yes. Again, you can always use a wall and just like raise the wall if you need to, if you don't want to actually hold on something. It's kind of nice to not have to think about balance. I feel like I'm always like checking balance at you guys and making you work on your balance. So it's nice when you can take it out and just focus on the strength. So we're doing 10 reps per side. Deadlift lunge equal 1 rep, and you're doing 10. Followed by a big old set of 20 reps of hip thrusts, preferably with the elevated feet. It is indeed. So we'll switch sides on those deadlifts, lunges, trying to do the same thing that we did on the first side over on the second side, keeping it as even as possible. And those of you with sensitive knees, this pretty much always comes into play. If you're ever feeling tension in your knee in a bad way, just don't sit so low in whatever knee bending exercise there is, or you could even leave knee bending out altogether. So you could try not sinking all the way down to the lunge and stopping up here. You're going through just a shallow lunge, or you could just do the deadlifts if your knees are really sensitive, because I know some of us have some stuff going on, which tends to kind of creep up on us. So 10, don't accidentally do 15, followed by 20, use the high number in here, hip thrusts on this chair. So in terms of how far or close you are, you're gonna find out really quickly in terms of if it's like uncomfortable or not. If you're too close, you're going to feel a lot of tension in your neck, because we're gonna go up and then you're gonna have so much bend happening here. And so you'll probably be a little bit more comfortable if you move away slightly. You kind of relax your shoulders a bit and then drive the hips up, and you won't have that tension in your neck. On the flip side, if you're too far away, I'm gonna feel my hamstrings, the back of my legs here, like way more than my butt, which I don't want for you guys. So if that's happening, if you are feeling the back of your legs, you can try switching just a little bit closer. Or again, maybe just bringing your feet off the floor, putting your upper back on here, because we should be feeling our butt more than the back of our legs. And I know this one really does tend to wake up the hamstrings as well. Get that glute work. So once you guys are done with 2 more rounds of this stuff, and we are done. We have 2 more exercises after this. We're like getting through this stuff. Yes, hip thrusts. Quite deceivingly hard to feet up like that. It looks not so bad. Because I don't know. All right, so we'll take a little bit of rest right now. Again, you guys can literally, if you want to just take a second here to grab some water, just give your legs a second, because they are feeling. And then we will go into our third of 4 sets. Woo. All right, so you guys are ready. A couple of those deep breaths. Think about how strong you're going to make the steps. Let's get into it. So because we're holding the weight on one side like that, as opposed to holding 2 weights like this, although we are still holding on, something that you can think about in this set to get a bit more core action is actively pulling in your core, your belly button, towards your spine, the entire set. So every time you go down and up, the entire time, you're consciously pulling this in and tightening it up. And if you do that, that's going to make you get much more work in there over if you don't do that. It's also going to help you stay a lot safer throughout your lower back, your midsection there. So if you are someone who is prone to lower back injuries or pain or sensitivity, welcome to the club. This is something that you should definitely think about, because overall it's just going to help you stay locked in here and not bend through your back, because that's usually when we start to get that pain, because we're working when we bend like that. But if you lock it in, you just move through the hips, we don't have any rounding happening like this, you're much less likely to get that stress and that pain. And you know that, because I feel you on that sensitive lower back. All right, so we'll get through these next 2 sets. And Evan, you guys are ready? So keep in mind, if you're using glute bands, always talk about this, tell you guys this, but I want to keep reminding you that if you were to add more than 1 band, it's going to make this a lot harder. So you can add 2 bands looped around your feet if you have access to them, a heavy one and a strong one, or whatever it is, medium, and that's going to make this a lot harder. If that's what you want. Maybe. All right. Woohoo! Yes. So optional, those of you who are working with the balance, trying to focus on that, regardless if you are holding on or not. You guys can think about really trying to grip your feet into the floor. As opposed to, or on the flip side of that, when you're working with this hip thrust, I don't know if you guys saw that, kind of didn't explain it, but I had my feet just on the edge like this, so that I was right on the edge of the chair, as opposed to having my feet flat like this. This is the most comfortable for my ankles, because as soon as I do this, I get a weird bend in my ankles. It just kind of feels weird. If I go like this, it helps me to overall have a better hip thrust as I go all the way up. And I'll feel less in my calves and in my hamstrings if I have my feet like this over if I have my feet pointed like this. So it's something that you can think about if you are having your feet up on there, is flexing your toes up, and you should feel a little bit more, hopefully a lot more, in your glutes. So we have one more round. Oof, that one sounds so weird to get out of. One more set of these 2 exercises, and then we're moving on to the next 2, the last 2 of strength. We have that nice circuit that I gave you a teaser about. And it is time to get on with the day. So again, we take a little bit of rest here. We'll go into our last set. All right, so glutes, yes. But yes, let's do it. Okay, so you guys are good. We've got 3 minutes left to go through this. This one takes a while to get through. So when you are ready, which is hopefully in the next about 30 seconds, that is technically when you should start, we will do our final set. Yes! Good job, you guys. So again, trying to focus on pushing those hips back as much as we can. Working with that lunge where we're trying to bring our body forward to get that feeling, that stretch happening on that lunge. We should feel that glute work. Step us up to the top. Ooh, last set. And to be honest with you guys, this combo, this deadlift lunge combo, is pretty damn foolproof. And you're feeling the right things in your hips and your butt. But take your time. Same thing that I suggested on the last 2 exercises we did. Slow down. It's going to make it a lot harder. It's going to take you longer and more time for these muscles under the weight, your band, or whatever you're using. So take your time with it. When you guys are done, do the other side, of course. And then we have our final set of the 20 yes hip thrusts. Lift that feet up. Yes. Good work, you guys. So we'll breathe through these reps. Taking our sweet time. And then we'll go right into our hip thrusts on the floor. Ooh, burning butts. I know you guys Definitely be feeling it back there. If you are, it is like you need to stop at the last couple reps. That's what you should be feeling. But then you're going to go down there and do 20 reps. Every single one of those reps, you should be feeling a nice squeeze on your glutes. So don't even leave the top of that hip thrust until you feel your butt. And then you can lower down. And then you go back up and you hold, and then you can go down to start to feel that squeeze. So let's finish up our final set. Being very conscious, very intentional with what we're feeling. 20 times, 20 reps. You're not even going to have to think about it for the last 5, 10 reps, because if you focus really hard on those first 5 or 10, then everyone you should just feel it. You should go up, squeeze your butt. Let's do it. Yes. Good work, you guys. So once you're done, you can stand up, get yourself ready to start the last part. We have 2 more exercises, these last 2 that we are going to do. The first one is a single leg hip thrust. I'm going to do it now with my back on the chair. So if you don't have something like this, or maybe you have something but it doesn't have a soft top, you don't have something to put down, totally fine. If you want to do this off of the floor, with your foot and back on the floor, I'm going to use this chair here, this bench, narrow feet. Want to bring my ribs and pelvis together, so I'm kind of crunching in right off the bat and push up, lift a leg, and we'll go through a single leg hip thrust, all on this side. You guys are going to spend 15 reps on this side, followed by 15 reps on this side, and then I have one exercise, which we're going to do with this, but I want you to start this first set, and I'll show you the next one. So we need to stop so we can get through this. So if you don't have that situation up there, you're on the floor, working through this same single hip thrust with the leg driven up to your chest, trying to touch your lower back, not your butt down if you're on the floor. Same rules as I kind of crunched you in on that bench. Ooh. And we're going to 15 on each side. Oh, those ones should definitely be feeling now after those outer hip thrusts that we did. So just normal tempo, you guys, 2 seconds up, 2 seconds down. We're not focusing on slowing down or pausing or anything like that. You shouldn't need to, you should just feel that back there. If for some reason anyone is doing this and they're like, oh, this is so easy, I would prefer you to add weight over adding more time to your reps today, just so that we have time to get through all of our sets. Once you guys are finished 15 and 15, you are standing up to the top. Well, we're going to go into a wall sit. So wall sit, if you do not have a wall that you want to sit on, or not a wall at all to sit on, you are holding a squat hold. But if you do have a wall, we're going to get ourselves down into this 90-degree wall sit here. Narrow, a bit more narrow than hip width apart feet, because our count is going to be these leg extensions. So if you do not have a wall to work through, you're going to do this a little different. We're going to sit down into a squat, and your count's going to be these abductions, because unfortunately, the leg extensions do not work in this squat hold. And if you don't have a wall, then you can't really do the same, but you're going to count these abductions. Whereas if you're wall sitting, we're going to get the legs going here and work with these leg extensions. So again, more narrow feet is going to make this feel a lot more comfortable. The wider the feet, the harder. The closer the feet, the easier. If you find this is too hard, if you're feeling tension in your knees, you can hold and count lifting your toes like this. Or if you would like, you can sub in for that abduction. But whatever you're doing, we're doing 20 reps. If you're extending, then it's 10 per side, 20 total. If you're doing something double, then it's just 20, okay? So let's do it. And then this is going to be you guys, ouch, for 3 more sets. Back into the single hip thrusts, and then up into this wall sit. I always feel like that plank over there kind of just blends in with my pants. You can't really see what's happening, but 90 degrees, holding the wall, narrow feet, and like literally hold onto the wall, which is going to help you avoid that shifting in your body. Oh, okay. So once you are done, we're not taking any rest, okay? I want you guys to, the rest is transition time. So if you want to take your time getting into your next set of those back supported single leg hip thrusts, let's do it. So we're 15 reps per side. 3 days. Repeat. Yeah, so for most of us, like 15 is going to be really challenging, if not almost impossible, to get your hips up all the way, as that is necessary, on every single one of those reps. So if you're struggling to do that, if you can't quite get your hips up to the top, use your breath. Exhale and push your hips up. See if you can make that happen. So you just have to do the other side. You have some wall sit time, kind of switch it up. More sets maybe. There we go. So exhale, push those hips up. You guys got it. This way. Roll the glutes. So we'll do both sides there. 15, 15. And trying to keep that ribs, pelvis together here so that you're not overarching through your back. Tuck it in as much as you can. Again, you will get some sneaky core work in here if you think about it. Because even just holding that yourself on one leg like that and tightening your core, it takes work. Because if you weren't using your core, I'll show you guys what's going on here. If I wasn't using my core right now, my entire body would tilt to the side. So I'm using it just to sustain this position. So if you pull it in more and hold this, it's going to feel more. And that goes for if your hips or if your back's on the floor, whatever you're doing, just tuck it in. And you can do the same on the wall sit. And the wall sit's nice because you can actually push your back into the wall. Squeeze your back into the wall and you'll feel that work happening. Just kind of like the dead bug on the floor. How you guys squish your back into the floor. So do that and then work with this extension here. If you don't have a wall, you can still pull it in. You can work with those abductions. I'm going through 20. Ooh, for the burn in legs. All right, you guys. So, we're doing our thing here. Going through last 2 sets. Just setting my timer. Perfect. Ooh, yeah, this is going to be a nice little shabam to go out with. Okay, so let's get through this, you guys. We have we have about 4 minutes until we really need to start the last part here. It takes us 12 minutes. That is our cardio conditioning circuit, the one that's all about our lungs, which is going to happen after you guys are done to your last 2 sets of this. So we need 4 sets total of these wonderful exercises. So we'll go through them. Again, we have about 3 or 4 minutes left to do our thing. That in the circuit. Yes. So take your time. So again, being conscious with your core, with all of your reps, thinking about your butt. Yep. And you're working right into that wall sit. So I'm going to go back over here and show you guys a couple things. So your body, I mean, talked about this before, but your body naturally just wants to make things easier. And so something that happens in wall sits specifically is 90 degrees at the knees here. Kind of see there. If I have my legs further, first off, I'm going to ruffle up my mat like this and run the risk of pushing my mat out and falling on my ass. But also, now I'm not at 90 degrees. It's beyond 90. So it's going to feel a lot easier because I'm essentially kind of like leaning up against the wall. Whereas if I walk my feet in so my ankles are right underneath my knees, yeah, it's going to burn a shit ton more. Your legs are going to be on fire much more than if they were moved out. But you're going to get so much more out of it Plus, you're not going to accidentally have your feet on that or anything slip out under you. Who wants that? So check yourself. You can do like a little shoulder check and make sure you are at that 90 degrees. Or, if you want to make it a bit harder, you can walk your feet in a little closer. Yeah. Then you guys have one more set after this. The final set. We only have to do this one more time. And this one. I'm not sure which one is harder. I think the hip thrust. I don't know. Depends on you. All right, but you're going to do it again. Think about that on your final set. So we have one more here. You guys have about 2 minutes to finish it up. And then we are moving on. Then we are moving on. Okay, so last set, last chance. Let's go out with a strong finish on these exercises. I want you guys feeling these more than you felt them on the past 3 sets. Let's get it. Okay, yep. So final set. Take your time with it. Last round. 12 minutes. Circuit after this, and then you guys are done. So you are almost there. But you got to keep going right now through these hip thrusts, through your last set of the wall sit. And then we're going to move on to the final part here. Yes, nice job, guys. Okay, so I'm giving you about 60 seconds here to finish this stuff up. We are set and ready to go. And the last part here. Yes. All right, so final set, you guys. Finishing up strong here. I'm going to start explaining our last part for about 30 seconds because we need to start in less than a minute so that we not run too much over time. Maybe a minute or 2. Sometimes we just talk over too much breathing. That's okay. All right. So do you think, you guys, final leg exercise, leg focused exercise, like wall sit, last set. Once done, big sip of water, and we're going to do the final part here, which is on the timer, which is nice. It means you don't have to count day. Couple things that you'll need for the next part. What you won't need actually is the chair, a bench, anything like that. We are not going to be incorporating him in. He's away. What we are going to use is a band, specifically for the first exercise, where is a jumping jack, where we're going to band our feet. So what this is going to do is give us a whole lot of work in the sides of our hips. I'm going to have my feet hip width apart and jump out no closer than hip width and then out a little bit wider. And that's going to give me work on the sides of my hips from this band. So if you do not have the band, it's fine. You're just doing jumping jacks with no band involved. And I would suggest to use a lighter band for this. What we're going to do is 40 seconds on, 20 seconds off. This is one of 3 exercises that we're doing 4 rounds of. I'm going to show you guys this first one, and then I'll show you the other 2 on the timer. We are going to do a thing, okay? So band up. Again, it's just around your ankles, around your heels if you have it. If you don't, and you are just doing jumping jacks, starting in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. I'm not sure why it didn't beep, but that was the start. Let's go. Hopefully it'll beep next time. I don't know why. Sometimes it just misses the first one. All right, let's do it, you guys. So with these ones here, low impact, we are tapping your feet out to the side like this, regardless if you're using the band or not. And this one doesn't feel so bad at first, but it most likely will creep up on you guys. 10 more seconds left. Let's do this. 3, 2, 1. There we go, nice beat. All right, so what we're going to do now, if you have the band, move it up around the top of our knees and get ourselves over to one side of the mat, narrow stance in our feet. We're doing our lateral ski hops where we jump 2 feet and land with 2 feet, over and back, and let's go. So if you're low impact, you can go up onto the toes rather than jumping and actually traveling and moving through this. Yes. So we have this banded around the knees here, which is again helping us to just put some work on the sides of our hips. So try to keep your knees out and apart, never let them cave in together. And then we're using our arms, jumping up and then landing in that same position that we started in. 10 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. Okay, last one, you guys. Unbanding, taking that band off. We have a lateral bound, no band involved. We're going to load up one side and then bound ourselves over to the other side, jumping sideways, reaching this opposite arm in front of us and across our body. And ready, set, go. If you're low impact, you can tap each side rather than jump your feet. And the further you jump, the more intensity, the stronger you are in that jump, the harder this is going to be. So you have 20 seconds left. Yes. This first set. Here you go. Come on. Sneak some legs into the cardio. Of course, the leg day. Less than 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Rest. Good job, you guys. Okay, so that was our first round. Yeah, we're going to do that 3 more times to make it 4 sets total. So we're going back to the first one. Again, our banded jumping jacks. We're using the band. Now, this is our 40 seconds on, 20 seconds off split. Here we go. So for any of you who, I always give you this option, if you want to make this entire cardio circuit a lot more challenging for yourself, maybe you already are quite, fit and strong in your cardio, maybe you run or you do cardio stuff on the regular basis. If you work through that 20 seconds of rest and turn this into 60 seconds of each exercise rather than 40 on, 20 off, it's going to make this entire thing a lot more challenging because you're not really allowing your body to have any rest. So you're really going to tap into that cardio work that you would get if you wouldn't stop. So options on the table. If you want to keep going, that would start right now. Okay, so you guys have 20 seconds here and you can keep working through this, or you can take this rest to breathe, to walk, especially if you're pushing yourself really hard on that 40, you might need this rest, and that's totally okay. All right, I would certainly need this rest if I was doing this workout, but I'm not the cardio queen that I used to be. All right, you guys. So moving the band up around the knees to the next one, and we'll go through those lateral ski hops. And trying to push our hips back more to like a deadlift position rather than a squat position with the hips down. You want the hips slightly lifted, and then you'll jump and land in that same spot. Ooh. So definitely this is one that you might not want to work through. But if you work through the 20 seconds in the first one, then you have to do it on the next two, okay? 3, 2, and that's 4. Good job, you guys. Some burning legs, unbanding, taking that band off. Keep it close so you're going to need it again 2 more times. Going into our lateral bounds. So to make this a more leg-focused exercise, sitting lower into that lunge and jumping off and landing lower on the other side, it's going to use more throughout your legs. It's obviously going to be a lot harder on your legs. Whereas if I don't sit so low and I kind of just go faster, It might be harder on my cardio without exhausting my legs so bad that I have to stop. I can't keep going. So you just play around with it. You guys have 20 seconds left. And try sinking a little bit lower. See how you feel. You're going faster, not going so low. Goal is to get your heart rate up. So let's make that happen. 10 seconds. Yep. Okay, guys. And have the 20 in between. Okay, that was our second set. 2 more and we are done. All right, so back to the first one. Jumping jacks with the banded heels, banded ankles. Ready? Ready or not? Let's go. So we'll band up, go through these banded jacks. Thinking about sides of our hips. And absolutely, you guys, the strength of the band will influence how hard this is. So if I was to use my strong band over this weak one, it's going to make this entire thing a lot more challenging. 15 seconds. Jumping jacks. It's always such a simple exercise. There's lots of ways to do them. Maybe switch it up a little bit. 3, 2, 1. Okay. This is our 20 seconds. So if you are resting, we are moving our band up, around, just above our knees, coming over to one side of our mat. Deep breath. Here you go, my big it. Sitting down. Ready? And here we go. So we're thinking about getting more of these hops in with less traveling distance. So I prefer you guys get like 5 or 6 of these jumps in over like 2 or 3 because you're jumping so far sideways. It makes it, a lot more challenging. But overall, you're going to get a lot more out of this. 20 seconds left. Here we are. Ooh, yes. Here we go. Almost there. 5 seconds. A couple more of those. Ooh, yes. 3, 2, 1. All right. Lateral bounds, you guys. We need one more set. We are done for today, for the week. Yeah. All right. Bounding. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. So I have my opposite arm. Trying to use a little bit of momentum for my arms to help me overall just go quicker, be faster. But when you're doing this one, we want to stay looking forward and have our shoulders facing forward, our hips, so that we don't end up rotating, as sometimes that rotation ends up happening through our knee, which we don't want. So we'll stay straight and we'll land straight as we can. 10 seconds left, 40. Ooh, we got this. We got this. We're just gonna keep going here for 3, 2, nice job. All right, this is it, my friends. One more set, the final set, 3 exercises. Doesn't sound too bad. We're gonna get through it, trying to have our strongest set go a little bit faster than those other ones we did. Okay, starting 5 seconds. So get ready. Here we go. So final set of these ones, trying to finish stronger than you started. Okay, I want you guys going faster, moving your arms, feet together at once. You got it. Yep, halfway to 40. Let's go. So arms and legs together, everything's moving at once. 10 more seconds. Do not stop. Keep moving. Your high impact, low impact. 3, 2, 1. Jumping jacks, done. All right, move the band up around your knees, just above. Oh, lateral speed hops. But these not last. I feel like, I don't know. I think they're really hard. So we're gonna get them done right now. Finish with those bounds. Ready, set. Here we go. So final set. Again, thinking about smaller hops, trying to travel arms and legs together. Let's do this. Halfway through, 20 seconds left. So let's see if you can get there and back at least one more time. Yes, with all those jumps. Last 10 seconds here. Come on now. Don't stop yet. Keep going. Last 1, 3, 2, and time. Good job. All right, lateral bounce. Unbend. Take that thing off. Don't, slingshot it across the room, but definitely put it out in the way because you're not using it anymore. We have lateral bounds, which are going to take us to the end. So those of you who've been working through that 20 seconds of rest, we're going to do that again right now. Okay, I'm going to leave this clock running. Let's go for this 40. You've been working the 40s. I want everything right now. Okay, I want you to actually need to stop when this clock beeps, when the 40 seconds goes off. If you're working through the 60, then pace yourself right now. Okay, find a nice challenging pace that you can hold, and you are going to use that last 20 seconds to push it as hard as you can to the end. 15 seconds left to 40, you guys. Let's go. We need all of it right now. There it is. Get stronger in the legs, using that breath every time you push off. 3, 2, and that's 40. Amazing job, you guys. Okay, working through, we got into this stretch here for the calf, the back of the leg, the hamstring, and you guys can spend about a minute on each side. So as soon as you're starting to feel a little bit more normal, you can start to go into this stretch, but please take a couple minutes now, actually walk around the room that you have and just keep moving to let your heart rate come down and your body to just chill out a little bit. So that's the first one. Again, you'll spend 1 minute on each side. Second one is for your butt, okay? So this one is one that we work on very often, this one where we pull in. We did it recently with our foot up against the wall. So you guys can spend time, about a minute on each side for your glutes, stretching on this side, pulling it in, switch, do the other side. And then last one, I know I told you 2, but I guess there's 3, is this bow and arrow. So where we have our leg over top of this one, and then hold this here. You guys are not going to forget this one, because this one feels so nice. And just be showing you this right now, you probably want to come do it. So once you're done your glute stretch, your calf stretch, you can come and spend about 60 seconds in this rotated position, stretching out your lower back, your mid back, the whole back, okay? That is all, guys. We're done for today. Tomorrow I am going live, if anyone's willing to come and join me at 8 a.m. for a little mobility flow sesh. If not, replay will be up right away, as I have found a new method to get the replays up right after the class, which is awesome. Thank you so much, Carly. I'm so sorry that we had a little technical difficulties getting you up in here. And I'm happy you can make it and join me. I will see you on Monday, maybe, or Tuesday, whenever you pop in live next. Have a great weekend, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. And for my replay watchers, thank you guys so much for coming out and watching this replay and training with me all week. You've been joining me. Drop a comment so I know you were here. And again, I hope to see you guys maybe tomorrow. If not, definitely next week. Have a great weekend. Bye, you guys.